you have multiple players who had hella skill. That's pretty much doing the same things they's doing now. You know, we had the guards who was going up doing the stuff that we see D-Rose and Ja Morant doing.
If I'm being honest, bro, I don't think anybody in this generation could have played like 20 years ago. And this is to everybody in our league, Tatum, all y'all.
It's hard to say more skill.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Nobody in this era has a mid-range.
You couldn't get, nobody.
Nobody in this era has a post game.
I'm going to keep saying this so nobody misrepresents my position. I like Anthony Edwards. He should keep talking his talk, speaking his mind. I love it. But you got to be prepared for the response when people feel like you said something that was emphatically wrong. Kevin Garnett, this is Timberwolves alumni. He made his bones early on in his career with the Timberwolves, being drafted with them in '95. He won MVP with the team. There's also a video with, I believe, a rookie LeBron James where he's doing an interview and they ask him, yo, who's like the best player in the NBA right now? And LeBron said, without a doubt, KG. Man, you see what KG's doing? He started naming his numbers. He is more than qualified to speak on this just off of his Timberwolves resume alone. Forget the Boston Celtics. I made a video as well, more in depth about this topic a few days ago, 3 to be exact. This KG and Pierce segment came out today, August 26, 2024. As I was watching it, it made me happy since they were mentioning a lot of things that I was actually bringing up in that video that I was talking about. The physicality of the game, how much it changed, and the play being more movement oriented, let the perimeter guys do their thing. These are all stuff that I brought up. And in the beginning, I was a little bit worried as the conversation was going on. KG was focusing so much on the leadership and the mentality of the game and the physicality, which is all great points. Wouldn't disagree on anything he said, but it seemed like, oh man, they're going to run with this and say, nah, we were talking about the skill. We had more skill than y'all. So say what you want to say about mentality and physicality. And I actually defended the younger generation on that point. However, I'm glad that Paul Pierce eventually chimed in and brought up, yo, these players don't even have a post game. They don't even have a mid-range game, right, compared to the old school. So how could you say that it's more skilled in this era if the other era was doing things that a lot of players don't possess right now, which is very, very true. Aside from the exceptions like DeMar DeRozan, great mid-range player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they brought him up themselves, great mid-range player. I would throw Kevin Durant in there as well. But if we're talking about just post players, like who is the best post player in the NBA right now? Back to the basket, could get you a shot if he's on the block. Like, who is that player? I'm asking y'all. Tell me in the comment section. I can't think of somebody right off the top of my head. And yes, this era is more versatile in terms of what a single player could do. I mentioned that in my previous video. But one of the drawbacks to that is when I'm watching the game, it's like 5-on-5. 5 guys who face up versus another set of 5 guys who face up. Where back in the day, you had 2 or 3 players that could face up, and then you had your post player. That in itself was more versatility in terms of overall offense. So I would say individually, yes, this era is a lot more versatile, but overall as an offense, back then it was better since everybody wasn't a Swiss Army knife. You had specific players on the court who specialized in certain areas. And there's advantages and disadvantages to that you could argue. Something else KG and Paul Pierce said in this video that actually tied together. In the beginning, Pierce actually said he thought that this era was more skilled, but that didn't mean that it made them better players. KG at some point in the video said that in his era, it was more about shot selection and efficiency. That goes hand to hand, because if you got all this skill, but you don't know how to use it, well, that's like playing street ball. And for anybody listening, if you played a lot of street ball growing up and then you played in organized leagues on teams where you had coaches, all of that, you know it's 2 completely different things. If you try to come with a street ball kind of mentality, they're not going to look at you as a good player, even though it looks flashy and it makes the crowd cheer. Back to Anthony Edwards, though. I strongly believe if anything you're doing that has some sort of passion in your heart, whether it's basketball or sport, arts, business, you have to study the present and the past in order to advance into the future. And studying the history of something will give you a lot more knowledge and IQ and actually help you with more creativity, because there may be stuff that is not being done right now that you could actually apply today in some sort of way, or maybe reinvent it a little bit. And it's kind of scary then if Anthony Edwards is not really studying the game like that and he's this good. Imagine how much better he would be if he actually went into the archives and really dug back and said, you know what? Let me study all these guys who I don't know, since he said himself that he didn't watch. Bottom line, I see more guys like a KG and Magic Johnson who got a championship on their resume speaking out more about this. This is not going to go away for now, at least. Anthony Edwards is going to have to weather out the storm, put his head down, and just play great. He's a great player. I don't want to make it seem like he's bad. I understand he's young. As I was saying, you just got to take what comes with saying your opinion, especially one like that. And he's going to have to deal with the guys who didn't win a championship, but they're still superstars. They're still Hall of Fame players. And until Anthony Edwards at least gets to an NBA Finals, they're going to have a lot to say too. That's where I'll end this video. Let me know what you see in KG's remarks, Paul Pierce's remarks, the commentary that they brought up. Also, again, I did a whole video about this that's about 11 minutes long that is a lot more in detail as to the different eras and how they compare. It is called NBA Generation Divide. Nobody wins when family feuds. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you look in the description, there is a Kobe Bryant Mamba Mentality link, an Amazon purchase where you could read his book, and he's talking about his own love for the game, documenting it. All right, make sure you check that out. And now, as always, salute for listening. Peace.